Hello internet and all places internet. Sorry if you can hear some weird humming, buzzing sound. I've turned all my appliances off, so I don't know where that's coming from. Hopefully the generic PlayStation music drowns that out so you don't hear it. So maybe you saw my Platinum Trophies video, which has a decent view count for a channel this small, which is kind of what I expected. This is a niche crowd kind of thing. But yeah, if you did, great. Here's the thing I said I would do in that one, where we're going to look at the games where I have all the trophies that are games that do not have Platinum trophies. So the way I did this was, these aren't going to be in chronological order like the Platinum trophies one was, because it's just too hard to have gotten it that way. There was no ascending order thing, so it just would have been newest to oldest. What I found out instead was I went to the top of PlayStation PSN profiles. Sorry, PlayStation profiles was an actual thing. This is the fan-made thing, PSN profiles. And I went to games that had all the trophies in, and then I had them sorted by percentage, which for some reason put the Platinum trophy ones at the top and the non-Platinum trophy ones at the bottom. How many games are we looking at today? At least 13, because a few years ago, when I only got 100% in like every game where I got 100%. Oh, that humming sound just died. That's great. Basically, used to be whenever I would get a Platinum trophy in a game, it would be a game where I probably bought it used, so all the DLC was in there. It was a game where the DLC trophies were pretty easy to get. So it was really easy to do the math. I would just look at games like, because at the top of this site here will tell you how many games you've completed, and I just minus the amount of Platinum trophies I had to tell how many times it was just non-Platinum games. But now I have some games where I have the Platinum but not 100% trophies. Mafia 2 comes to mind. So I don't know. I can't really do the math that easy anymore. But it's at least 13, because that's how it was all those years ago. So it's way more than that now. Well, not way more. I've cut down all the trophy hunting I've done since then. And as I even said in the thing, Platinum trophies make getting all the trophies more addicting than just getting all the achievements. So an exception, games without Platinums, it's a little bit hard to justify getting all the trophies. I tend to only do that if I'm being stubborn, or if it's just kind of a bit too easy. For those type of games, I'd rather just get all the achievements, because that is an option for me. Alright, enough explaining. Let's talk about the games that you've already been looking at for a while. Firewatch, all 10 trophies. The reason why there's such a big gap here for a game that you can beat in an afternoon, I did beat it in an afternoon. I bought the game when it was fairly new and there was no DLC, as it were. The DLC was just a free update that gave you developers commentary, and for some reason they were like, hey, we're also going to chuck some achievement. I can say achievements, you know what I'm talking about. Achievements in there that, some of which are going to be, hey, play a developer tape, but mostly just going to be things you could have done the first time you played it. Sorry though, you gotta do it again. If you did do it the first time, because that's just how it works. So I just sat down again for another afternoon with the developer commentary on, because why not, and just mindlessly got the DLC trophies. I did it to look them up, just to make sure I didn't want to do it again, even though I do like Firewatch quite a bit. I've been meaning to replay Firewatch. It's just, the older I'm getting, the more I love these quiet little 2-hour-long games. My favorite genre is RPGs, you know, big sprawling, 60-plus hour RPGs, but another type of game I love is the game you beat in an hour or two. I'm starting to really love that. I'm almost 30, man. The years are adding up. The free time is slipping through my fingers. Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons. While not one of my favorite games, I feel like it's one of the best games I've ever played. And I love this discrepancy here. I played it for a little bit one day, but I was still in college then. And at that time, my PlayStation 3 was just with my parents, not with me at college, which is probably good, because my computer was eating up enough time video game-wise anyway. So, you know, I think I played a little bit of it, and I was like, oh, I gotta get back to the campus. And, this is around the time I would have just graduated, so it took me a little bit to get back to it. Although I believe I beat it, and then just went back for, like, the trophies, because if you don't know about Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons, and this is great, all of the achievements and trophies are based on a supplementary thing you can just do while you're playing. There is not a single story-related achievement. You can play the whole game in one sitting and earn no achievements. And that's kind of incredible in some ways. I really think so. It's super rewarding for people that want to go out of their way, and for people that do not give a shit about achievements, it means you don't have to worry about them at all. Speaking of achievements, I actually did, through Game Pass actually, I played the Xbox One remaster, or port I guess basically, and I got all the achievements in that time too. I love this game, it's really good. Sam and Max, The Devil's Playhouse Episode 2, The Tomb of Salmon Mock. Spoiler alert, I got all the trophies in the Devil's Playhouse. You're going to see them sporadically just through how it goes. It's kind of silly how they spread it out like this. Would it have been nice to just have one game with a platinum trophy? Sure, but these were episodic releases, so I guess that's all they could do. They didn't really figure that out super well until, like, I want to say, like, probably Walking Dead Season 2. Maybe Walking Dead Season 1 even did it like this. I really don't know. I only played Season 2 when it was years later. The Telltale formula... So I didn't really get burnt out by the Telltale formula like a lot of people did. Because honestly, I was just playing Sam and Max, and I was more than happy with just Sam and Max. The limited run games releases that are happening right now, well, and Skunkape games in general, they're doing a really great job from what I've seen. I'm waiting to play the remakes, remasters until all three are out, but they look really goddamn good. And it's great to have these games. I was gonna say preserved, but I don't know if they are. I've heard that you can actually still get the original versions when you buy the remaster/remake versions. And for me, I had the old versions anyway, multiple copies. Not just this PS3 copy of the third game, which is the best one. I also have 360 copies of the original version for 1 and 2 through backwards compatibility. But hey, those are completely digital, so those could be eaten up one day. But I also got physical copies of the PC release, because back when Telltale Games was not that big of a company, and we're just kind of releasing these small games, if you bought all the games digitally for a season, you were eligible to spend like only $5 more to get sent to you a PC DVD disc that had the game and like all these extra features and stuff, and I got it for all 3 seasons. But yeah, so all I'm really saying is The Devil's Playhouse was absolutely the best season, and probably the best thing Sam and Max were ever in. And this is someone who loves everything Sam and Max. This is the one where there's a reason I'm just waiting for all 3 to be remastered before I play them all, just because all I do playing Season 1 is say, ooh, I can't wait for Season 3. And all I would do while playing Season 2 is say, ooh, I can't wait for Season 3. Naughty Bear, Panic in Paradise. This is probably the most time-consuming and maybe hard non-platinum trophy game I got all the trophies in. This is a grind fest. It can be a little bit hard in that way, although it really is mostly just a grind. But it is a fairly solid game. I say fairly solid as in like, oh, you mean like what, a 6 out of 10? Like pretty okay? Closer to a 7! I really actually kind of enjoy Naughty Bear Panic in Paradise. Does it copy Hitman's homework? Yeah, but it knows why it should be copying Hitman's homework. It takes a concept from the original base Naughty Bear, which I didn't hate. I played the Gold Edition, which got rid of a lot of the glitches that I hear the regular version had, and I didn't have a bad time playing original Naughty Bear. I'd say that's like a 5 out of 10, like a mediocre-ish, average-ish, really kind of fun sometimes, if kind of also annoying some other times. Panic in Paradise was a much smoother experience. The trophies, though, were a bit of a pain. But this was when I was still going for all trophies no matter what, so Did games like this kill that interest? I don't know, because this was very satisfying to get all the trophies in. I believe this game's also delisted. I believe original Naughty Bear is too, so sorry. Good luck playing the good Naughty Bear game. Kingdom Hearts 358 over 2 days. Before you're saying they literally gave trophies out for the gameplay? Trailer things? The cutscenes? The cutscene compendium? In the PS3 version, yes they did. That's the thing they cut out for the Xbox One and the PS4 versions. There used to be trophies in this for just the cutscene stuff. Watching all the cutscenes and then reading all the diary and journal entries afterwards got you all the trophies. And as you see, it doesn't take very long. The timer doesn't start until the first one, so all the hours you spend watching the cutscenes don't count. And it's not like you still shouldn't see those cutscenes, because if you want to play Chain of Memories, you have to kind of watch 358 over 2 days, because watching all of 358 over 2 days in these, I'm gonna pause for a second, there's sirens. Whoever that was is okay. You still need to watch all the cutscenes for 358, honestly, before Chain of Memories. That'll kind of mess with you a little bit, considering Chain of Memories was designed to either be played just before Kingdom Hearts 2, or the remake version just after Kingdom Hearts 2, for those who missed it on the Game Boy Advance version. And 358 does go in, assuming that you already know all these characters from both of those games. But then they also decided, hey, guess what? For these compilation versions, if you play 358 over 2 days, well, if you watch the cutscenes, then you'll be allowed to get these extra special combo cards for Chain of Memories, and those cards are pretty overpowered, and not only that, you need those cards because they count for the journal for the trophy, so you still have to, and unfortunately they got rid of the trophy support for the little cutscene stuff. I was genuinely upset. Like, this is like the one time I don't mind there's not a platinum. Even a game like Naughty Bear Panic in Paradise, considering how much I had to do, platinum would have been nice even for a tiny game like that. Don't mind it too much for the Sam Max stuff, because they were just 6 trophy lists for one big game. Would have been nice if they just put them all together to get one platinum trophy, but I don't mind this entirely either. Brothers, fine, shorter experience, and the original version. With the port that came to PS4, and you had to compare it to the Xbox One version, which has 1,000 gamer score, that version should have had a platinum. Same with Firewatch. After the Xbox One decided all Xbox games, no matter what, get 1,000 gamer score instead of the 200 that the smaller games used to, that's when I started taking issue with some games still not having platinum trophies. And I don't think I'm alone either. But if this exact trophy list got brought back for the update versions, even without the platinum, at least this is just watch cutscenes and read something. I kind of understand that. Like, maybe, pair it, or, pair it with Coded, and then make a platinum for if you do both of those. Instead, they just got rid of the entire trophy list for Days and for Coded. And no achievements on the Xbox version either. I really don't know why. I feel like it does lose the incentive for some people, because while not everyone cares about trophies or achievements, hearing that they took the achievements and trophies away, even if you don't really care, doesn't that kind of feel like they're admitting it's not as important? You get what I mean? It's just weird. I already talked about the Devil's Playhouse, but here's episode 1, the Penal Zone, and here's episode 5, the City That Dares Not Sleep. The rest of it is sleep. I actually played the episodes out of order on the PS3 version because I'd played the game enough times before on PC. So I was like, I'll just kind of randomly go because I know the story anyway. So I don't even know which way I got these, to be honest. I don't know how accurate this list is at all. I mean, again, you're seeing the weird, you'll see the dates, I guess. Agatha Christie, The ABC Murders. Not a great game, although not a bad one. With the pain in the ass this was, I definitely wish this was platinum. And from what I understand, there's actually way more than 15 achievements on the Xbox version. They cut the trophies just to continue justifying no platinum. That's annoying. That's dumb. Do I regret playing the game? Not really, because it is my kind of game. But for what this was, I've had more fun playing hidden object games. It's not bad per se, and the new Agatha Christie game that came out like a year or so ago looks a lot better than ABC Murders did. It was fine, although one of the achievements was a pain. What was it? You had to like... There's one trophy for like getting so many things wrong, and another one for getting like basically every single thing right. And obviously you can't do them in the same playthrough. There's another one that was bugged in some way where like if you got like most of the collectibles, the game would remember you got them for the next playthrough, but the achievements wouldn't, so you'd still have to do it again if you're just like, I'll just replay that one section or whatever. There were some problems with the ABC Murders. Still not a bad game, but probably a 5 or 6 out of 10. I never played it again after getting the trophies, but at the same time, glad I got the trophies, because, you know, if I didn't, I would want to, but I don't want to play the game again. Okay, so this video is coming around the same time I'm doing a video I'm going to call PS4 games only I can play, which is for like delisted games that I happen to get my hands on. So you'll hear me complain on the main channel about Soul Bright Night of Darkness. Fuck this thing. There was a Twitter thread I saw like a couple months ago where someone was like, every gamer needs to experience an actually, genuinely, unforgivably bad game. And then some people outed themselves by being like, oh yeah, don't worry, I've played Super Mario Sunshine. Oh, I've played a Pokemon Sword or Shield. It's like, aha, you're outing yourselves. Those are disappointing games. You've never played a bad game. This is a fucking unforgivably bad game. This is a gigantic fucking piece of shit. And it's... like 60% of this game, by the way, is stolen content. The orcs from Skyrim are an enemy. And no, I don't mean they look like the orcs from Skyrim. They stole the fucking models. There are sound effects from Super Smash Brothers. I was going to look for the subtitle, but no, it's the one that was from the Wii U, so there wasn't a subtitle. For Smash Bros. Wii U and or 3DS, it's Palutena's, I think, from what I read. The cover art was stolen from someone's DeviantArt account. This was so unforgivably bad, Sony basically pretended that they didn't sell it, because they pulled the game a few months after. No one who bought the game got a refund, though. So I can't really say good guy Sony for that. Also, the guy who sold this massive piece of shit still makes a game on PlayStation about once per year. So what was the lesson that they learned? I'll talk about it more in that video, and I'll even like show some fucking video evidence. And I have an old video that, before my commentary was all that good, on my Vimeo, which I compiled. It's about an hour long of me showing off like all the stages. Because at the time I released that video, only 2 people in the world had actually gotten all the trophies. First one being me. I was the first person to actually get all the trophies in this game. And if you don't believe me, see? I'm gonna block these people out for their protection. But look, this green is me because it's highlighted in green. First achievers. There I am. This person, who again I won't out, notice it's 4 days after. I'm not fucking joking. They actually messaged me and asked me how they did it. Because credit to this person, they did play more of the game before I did and had more of the trophies than I did. So they did a better job than I did when I tried. Because I played the game like a couple times before and only got like 5 stages in. This person got to like stage 7 or whatever. The stage that's like, that people thought was broken. So, good on you, and I don't know who the hell this third person is, although they played the game very recently. I wonder how they got it. But yeah, no, like, I'm not going to entirely brag for this person. They did ask me how I did it, and I honestly gave generic advice, like, wait it out, it's not broken, even though it just looks like it. Okay, hold on, this last person. Looks like they bought the game and it was illegal, and then just came back to it a long time after. Probably someone who thought the game was unplayable until, you know, 2 other people did it. Because I wouldn't blame them if only 1 person did it, because you could assume a cheater. I'm the person who did it, and I wouldn't blame anybody if people thought I cheated if I was still the only person. And by the way, like, I know people are like, haha, saw your gamer tag, I'm gonna message you, or I'm gonna friend you. My account's privated. And it's because of this game. People were messaging me to try to get the game from me, so I just went private. I couldn't fucking handle it anymore. You'll notice that my home screen messages don't ask me about Soul Brain. Even though it's privated, I ain't changing that, because that is the reason I'm privated now. And no, I'm not, and I refuse to sell it not because it's illegal. I refuse to sell it because no one, fucking no one should have to play this disgraceful piece of shit. If you want to know what the game was like, go watch that Vimeo thing. Go watch the main channel video because I'll show some of it off. Maybe one day I'll live stream the fucking piece of shit. But that, you should only know this game through osmosis. It is that bad. Sorry to go on a tirade there. It's just, Hey, TV Show King, did you know this game was on the Wii before they ported it to the HD consoles? And it's honestly pretty fun. I'm actually proud of myself for getting all the achievements here, because one of them is like play a whole game where you don't get a single question wrong. And guess what? If one of the AI players gets the question before you, then you're ineligible. Oh, and guess what? This isn't as popular as, say, like the PlayStation 3 Jeopardy game. So you can't just look at the answers up online. You can't. I tried. Like, for some generic questions, sure you can, because you'll just be able to type that thing up. But more obscure stuff is like, uh-oh, too bad the game's not popular enough to just say TV Show King answers. Even though you can actually do that for, like, PS3 Wheel of Fortune and PS3 Jeopardy, because while those games are not, Keno, people really liked them, so they were popular enough to get, like, message forms and stuff. Not so much TV Show King. People like that game, but it's hardly been played. And I know that there's a TV Show King 2 for the Wii only, and it's on disc, so hey, if I ever find a Wii, unironically, I'll be looking for TV Show King 2, because I really liked TV Show King. I like these silly, trivia game, board game, video games. And it's a shame that the newer ones don't really seem all that good. Like, I've seen them. The only one of the recent ones that looks any good is Family Friggin' Feud. That's based on Family Feud, a game show that's, like, one of the weird ones. Like, I mean, I saw it. Like, I was even just watching, like, Snapcube's recent video where she did a bunch of them, and it's like, that new Jeopardy one looks so bad. The new Wheel of Fortune one somehow just misses the mark compared to the PS3 one. I mean, come on, the PS3 one actually got Pat Sajak. How do you fuck up not getting Pat Sajak? Trivial Pursuit Live. This is why it stings even more that, like, the new games, the new, like, trivia game and TV show game, video games aren't all that good, because a lot of them, I think all of them actually, are made by Ubisoft, and Ubisoft showed some promise with Trivial Pursuit Live. Trivial Pursuit Live is great, and apparently the newer versions that they've been released, like, say, the Switch port, which I also have, even added new questions, so if you were double dipping, you had a reason to. Trivial Pursuit Live is really good, and unfortunately, though, it is still so much better than more of the recent Ubisoft stuff. Which isn't that the way, you know? It's like, what, Trivial Pursuit Live is the best trivia game Ubisoft released when they've been releasing so many new ones? Next you'll tell me Far Cry 3 is still better than all the following Far Crys. Or that people will still love Assassin's Creed 4 more than, like, the 10 Assassin's Creed games that came after. If you wonder what that weird accent was just there, I am a New Englander, so when I think funny accent, I just kind of dip into that. War of the Monsters, PS2 on PS4 port. People like this game quite a bit. Couldn't get into it. I know that's weird for someone who got all the achievements, but again, 2017 was still like a little butthole about making sure I got all the trophies in all the games I played. It doesn't mean anything about all the trophies in some games. And as much as I'm glad that there was a PS2 and PS4, and I'm glad that retro games are allegedly coming to the new PlayStation Plus service, as I expected, it seems a little underwhelming so far. hopefully, the backlash, and the competition especially, with both Game Pass and even what Nintendo is doing with the Nintendo Online. I've seen the complaints, and I agree with a lot of them, but you gotta admit, for a back catalog by this point, it's actually pretty far back, even with a lot of obscure titles. Sony should also look at that as competition, as well as Game Pass, like for both those things, since Sony wants to finally think about retro games for the first time in the company's history. But, you know, so hey, while I wasn't a too big a fan of this one, and there were some other PS2 games I didn't really get on with, Red Dead Revolver, unfortunately, was one of those too. I like its aesthetic, I like its music, I like the idea behind the more arcadey shooting. I just really couldn't get into that one, and I love Redemption 1 and 2, but, I mean, they're different games. War of the Monsters, I wouldn't call it a bad game, but a game that has aged in ways that I couldn't really get into, which, isn't that just the thing? I'm a proponent that most, if not all, old games deserve a remake just because control schemes have changed so much in this fairly new format of entertainment. Alright, Infamous Festival of Blood. As I mentioned, yep, the only Infamous game I don't have all the trophies in is Infamous 1. Will I one day do it? No idea, but I have all the achievements. This is a PlayStation only exclusive. There was no achievements ever. But I have all the trophies in Infamous Festival of Blood. Fun game! Not a big one. I mean, look, I got all the trophies in a day. But a fun game. I had a lot of fun playing it. It's silly. Like I said in the first video, electric vampires. Tell me where the problem is. I can't find it. Machinarium. I got this around the same time as Brothers, again, as you can tell from the 2015 one. And what I said about Brothers is how all the trophies are exploration-based. There's not a single story trophy. Machinarium is the exact opposite. All the trophies, or achievements, as there was an Xbox version, are entirely just story-based. So playing those games back-to-back and completing them back-to-back was kind of funny. Machinarium is a very good game too. It's an old school kind of point and click kind of thing. Its art style is really nice. Is it cryptic sometimes? Yes. That's why I said it's like an old point and click game. Very interesting though, and it's on newer consoles, I believe. I believe it's at least on the Xbox One. I want to say it's even on the Switch. Could be really wrong though. Again, Sarah Max Devil's Playhouse. Y'all already know that. Sorry, I got scrolled down all the way for this one, sorry, even though there's going to be an annoying ass advert I'll be cutting out. Carnivores HD. I know I've played this game. I remember playing this game. I don't really remember much of this game. It's a game where you shoot dinosaurs with rifles and stuff. It's a hunting game with dinosaurs. Doesn't that sound like the best game ever? If it had been more arcadey, yes. As I said in the first video, I actually really like realistic hunting simulators, like the Cabela's game that I got a platinum in. To go back to Red Dead Redemption again for a second, I love how, like, ridiculously over-realistic the hunting is in Red Dead Redemption 2. It basically became my favorite hunting game. But realism for dinosaurs is a mix I wasn't that big a fan of. It just felt kind of tedious, and I felt like I really wasn't actually accomplishing what I was trying to do. Like, there's a trophy for, like, killing one from, like, a certain amount of meters away, and I could never actually get how far away it was supposed to be. There was something, I'd love to give you better examples, but I don't really remember. This game barely left an impression on me, and it's a shame because I love the idea so much. I don't know. I mean, I remember, like, this was when I was started being like, sometimes when I have like a weird opinion on a game, like I'm not entirely sure, like I'm like in the middle or whatever, I will look up a Metacritic just to see, like, I wonder what other people feel about it. It never sways my opinion, because it shouldn't. Other people's opinions should not sway your own views. Feel whatever you trust your gut on. But I was curious, and I will say, I seem to be in the common consensus, though. A lot of people were like, man, this game should be great, but it's kind of weird. But I think also I read, in some cases, this was the problem. This is an older game, and apparently the HD port kind of ruined some stuff for some people who grew up on it. So it could be that. I don't know. I'm not interested in the franchise, though, and that's a shame, because who knows, this could be a great franchise with just one kind of stinky game, but I might never know. And again, Kingdom Hearts remake of Kingdom Hearts Coded. Takes a little bit less time after the trophies start popping, but same thing. There's no achievements or trophies in the PS4 or Xbox One versions, or when they happen, the PS5 and Series versions. You know they're coming. Still would have liked it again if they just put the both of them together to add a platinum trophy. Wouldn't have even minded if it was just like, oh, okay, here's just a regular pile of trophies. And I was actually floored when they continued that for the Xbox One version. I was like, okay, the Xbox One version must bring the achievements back. They don't care. They'll even probably make them 1,000. Nope, still no achievements for Coded or 358. Which blows my mind. Episode 3, they stole Max's brain, Devil's Playhouse. Again, Devil's Playhouse is the one I am the most looking forward to for those remakes. Devil's Playhouse is so shockingly good. And I seem not to be the only one. Like, I follow Skunkape Games on Twitter, and everyone's like, oh, we're so excited for Devil's Playhouse. The other ones are great, you're doing a great job, but also we don't care because what the fuck is Devil's Playhouse? Also, by the way, I'm seeing professional outlets say Skunkape. And look, maybe I'm wrong, and that actually is the joke. It's Skunkape. I'm going to keep saying Skunkape. It does not have the accent mark like General Skunkape actually had, but I'm still going to say Skunkape. Until I actually hear an employee say Skunkape, I'm going to say Skunkape. Genuinely probably the best villain Cybermax ever went up against, and come on, those guys just have an arch enemy who was a fishbowl. Song of the Deep. I'm gonna probably hurt some feelings with this. I hated Song of the Deep. I'm sorry. I don't know what it was. I don't think I dislike Metroidvanias. I mean, my favorite Kirby game is The Amazing Mirror, and that's a Metroidvanias type thing. I didn't really like the controls. I know it's underwater, but something felt like wrong about it. I don't want to say floaty, because again, it's underwater. It should actually be a bit floaty, but it didn't really feel right. I didn't really like how often I was dying. It felt kind of cheap a lot of the time, although I could have just been bad at it, who knows. I don't like how the game crashed one time and ate all my save data, so I had to start from the very beginning. The game may not be long, but when you don't like the game, it doesn't matter how long it is. The art style looked great in the promotional materials, but just did not move right for me while I was actually playing it. It seems to have gotten a mixed but leaning positive reception to a lot of people. I don't see it. I really did not like Song of the Deep. I don't get it, man. Insomniac is a company that I actually love quite a bit. Like I said, I didn't love the Spider-Man game as much as a lot of other people did, but I did quite like the game, and I feel like I want to replay it to see if I was just missing something, because it does feel like I was. The original Spyro trilogy are fantastic games in my childhood, and I love them a lot, and I can go back to them and say it's not just childhood nostalgia. These are very well-made games as a whole, even though the camera controls suck, but that's not Insomniac's fault. It was the PlayStation 1. I've played the first 4 Ratchet & Clank games, and even though they were the HD ports, which were done by another company, the Insomniac-isms were there, and I loved those games for what they are, and I've been meaning to play the actual made-for-PS3 Ratchet & Clank games for a while now, because I know I'd love them. All that being said, did not like Song of the Deep by a lot. From what I played of it, could not stand Sunset Overdrive. It says a lot that before the Spider-Man one, my favorite recent Insomniac game was Slow Down Bull, a like $2 game they made for charity. That being said, that game is actually pretty good though. I've been considering doing some gameplay for this channel though, just because it's kind of fun and no one talks about it. Still love Insomniac. I'm actually glad that they've been actually officially bought up by Sony. I know that sounds weird, but it was hard to tell where their partnership was going until the buyout, and with all the buyouts Microsoft's been doing, Sony needs to do some of that, so that way there's not a genuine monopoly on Microsoft's side. And, you know, again, Spider-Man was a huge step in the right direction, even if I did not love it, and Rift Apart looks like amazing, but it's gonna be a while before I get a PS4. But yeah, all this is to say, as much as I love Insomniac, you can love a game company and not love every single game they make. And Sunset Overdrive and Song of the Deep, stinkers, as far as I'm concerned. And I know that's probably a divisive statement, although I think saying I loved these games would also be a divisive statement. Both those games seem to be pretty mixed. So yeah, that's every game that does not have a platinum trophy, and yet I got all the trophies for. I have no idea what I'm going to name this video, because how do you describe that? Like in an off-the-tongue, rolls-off-the-tongue kind of way. And most of this was the one Sam & Max game and like Kingdom Hearts side games. Sorry about that. But hey, you got like Trivial Pursuit Live and TV Show King, and one of the worst games ever, and a surprisingly much better sequel to another fairly infamous game, and one that I bet people don't know that much about. People seem to like Panic in Paradise, not just me. Like, most people think Panic in Paradise was much better, but also not as many people played Panic in Paradise. Not that it matters. Pretty sure it's delisted anyway. If I'm going to recommend playing any of these games, the ones I would recommend playing are Firewatch, Brothers, Devil's Playhouse, and Trivial Pursuit Live? Honestly, yeah, those are the ones I'd recommend the most. The ones I recommend the least, I think I'd recommend Soulburn the least, obviously, like I said. I can't wholeheartedly entirely say don't give Song of the Deep a chance, because as much as I like thoroughly disliked it, people seem to connect to it. I seem not to be the only one who had problems with the ABC murders, and I also just can't recommend it because there's a newer Agatha Christie game, I think from these same developers, that got a much better reception, so just play that one instead. You know, I don't think you can get TV Show King anymore, so it doesn't really matter. War of the Monsters is probably going to be a game that will come to that new premium version of PlayStation Plus at some point. Oh, and Mechanarium! I do recommend Mechanarium, but again, to go back to games I don't recommend, Carnivores HD. Because there's no achievements tied anymore, I don't really recommend Coded that much. It's kind of like one of the weakest. It's the most standalone, which is great, but it's also kind of the most boring. I do recommend Days, though, even without the achievements and trophies, because it's one of the best stories the series ever had. Although at the same time, you know, that story is pretty much mostly intact in the manga, so maybe just read the manga. Yeah, that's all I gotta say. If you liked the video, then you liked the video. That's a statement, and it is true.